Money talks, right? Wrong. Quite the opposite. Wealthy men and those aspiring to join the club are not out there bragging about their bank accounts or flexing their latest investments. Well, then what exactly are they talking about? Well, that's what we're going to explore today, together. The old money principle. Privacy and decorum above all. Old money families prefer to preserve their wealth instead of flaunting it, and that preservation extends to their reputation. Talking about money in their circles? Tacky. It's like showing up to a black tie gala in flip-flops. It just doesn't fit the vibe. True wealth, especially old money wealth, thrives on the idea of subtlety. Discussing how much you earn or own is seen as unsophisticated, almost desperate. It gives the impression that you're trying too hard to impress, and nothing kills respect faster in their circles than being a try-hard. Imagine that you're at a dinner party and someone starts rattling off their net worth. For old money types, that's the conversational equivalent of chewing with your mouth open. Just plain cringy. But it's not only about avoiding embarrassment. The wealthy have a deep-seated need for privacy. Money is power, but it is also a magnet for unwanted attention, whether from gold diggers, opportunists, or even those who might mean harm. By keeping financial details out of the spotlight, wealthy men protect their families, their assets, and even their peace of mind. After all, if people don't know how much you're worth, they can't judge you for it, or worse, try to take advantage of it. And here's the kicker. Not talking about money doesn't just avoid awkwardness, it actually creates intrigue. When someone is polished, confident, and composed, they never utter a word about their finances. One can't help but wonder, how rich is this guy really? They let their understated lifestyle and refined demeanor do all the talking. Take the Rothschilds, for instance. Generations of wealth, influence, and power, yet you'll rarely hear them discussing dollar amounts. Why? Because they know that the true flex is not needing to flex. It's the whispered legacy, the aura of mystery, the feeling of, wow, this person is so confident that they don't even need to prove anything. So, putting it simply, not talking about money is about control. Control over the narrative, and control over the perception that others have of you. It shifts the focus from what they have to who they are. That's the old money way. Never loud, always intentional. So while others might be out there flashing designer logos or posting their vacation receipts on Instagram, the truly wealthy are quietly living their best lives, leaving you to wonder how they pull it all off without breaking a sweat. Why avoiding money talk builds intrigue and respect? Let's get one thing straight here. The less that someone talks about their wealth, the more you assume they have. It's human nature. When a wealthy man avoids money talk, it creates an air of mystery. And you can't help but wonder, what's the story here? How much is he really worth? But make no mistake, this isn't some accidental charm. It's intentional. By avoiding money talk, they shift the focus to their character, values, and personality. They don't want to be boxed in as just rich. Instead, they want you to respect them for their wisdom, vision, or charisma. Think about someone like Warren Buffett. He's one of the richest people on the planet, yet he doesn't flaunt it. He's not sitting in interviews rattling off his net worth or the price tag of his assets. Instead, he's talking about life lessons, smart investments, and yes, even kindness. That's his power move. It's not about showing you what he owns, but teaching you what he knows. And guess what? That's why the world hangs on his every word. What do they talk about instead? So, if wealthy men aren't flexing their balance sheets, what is lighting up their conversations? Their preferred topics are all about shared interests, intellect, and impact. Number 1. Family traditions, the core of old money. For wealthy men, family traditions are sacred. They'll reminisce about summer retreats at a lakeside estate that's been in the family for 6 generations, or talk about teaching their kids how to sail, because, legacy. This isn't just small talk, by the way. It's their way of preserving their roots while subtly reinforcing that their family's been a big deal ever since the 1800s. And let's be real here. When someone tells you that their Thanksgiving involves polo matches and a private chef, that is both fascinating and slightly intimidating. That's the old money way, making you wonder how they manage to make everything sound so effortlessly elegant. Number 2, philanthropy, where the real flex happens. For wealthy men, philanthropy is their version of a mic drop. It's how they flex without ever looking like they're flexing. They don't sit around at cocktail parties bragging about the millions they've donated or the number of schools they've built. That would be way too obvious. And let's face it, that'd be kind of awkward. Instead, they talk about the impact. It's not about how much money they gave, but rather it's about the story behind it. How they're helping provide clean water to remote villages, or funding scholarships for students who might one day change the world. Take George Clooney, for example. Yes, he's Hollywood royalty, but his real legacy might just be his humanitarian work. Instead of gushing about his stunning Lake Como mansion, and let's be honest, we'd all listen, he's shifting the focus to projects like his efforts in Sudan. That's next-level class. Because while a mansion might be eye candy, talking about how you're making a difference is what actually inspires respect. For these men, philanthropy is like a purpose. It's about showing the world that their success isn't just a trophy, but rather a tool for good. And let's not forget, nothing sparks more intrigue than someone who's powerful, wealthy, and genuinely cares about the world. That's how you make a real statement. Number 3, cultural topics, art, travel, and literature. If you've ever wanted to impress someone from an old money background, skip the flashy stuff and bring up something cultural. They'll happily discuss a Degas painting that they saw at a private auction or their favorite small town in Provence. Travel isn't just a hobby for them, it's an extension of their identity. And art? Oh, they'll light up over a good discussion about Renaissance techniques or contemporary installations. It's less about being pretentious and more about showcasing a deep appreciation for life's finer things. Number 4, shared interests and hobbies. One of the biggest misconceptions about wealthy men is that they only care about business. In reality, they are just as passionate about hobbies as the next person. Only their hobbies might involve polo, rare wine collecting, or restoring antique cars. Want to break the ice with someone like that? Mention a shared interest. The conversation will flow, and then suddenly you're not just talking to a billionaire, you're talking to a guy who's really into vintage watches or fly fishing. How they steer the conversation. So how do wealthy men gracefully dodge those awkward money questions? Simple. Subtlety, humor, and charm. These guys are conversational pros, redirecting the topic so smoothly that you don't even notice it. The deflection is a classic move. If someone asks, "How much is that car?" they'll just laugh and say, "I just hope it's cheaper than my dog's taste in food." It's funny, it's lighthearted, and it makes the question disappear. Then there's the pivot. Instead of talking numbers, they shift focus to something more meaningful. If someone mentions an expensive watch, they'll respond with, "Did you know that this style was inspired by aviation history?" Suddenly, it's not about money, it's about stories. The values play is another favorite. Instead of flaunting price tags, they talk about meaning. If you compliment their art, they'll say, "Well, that piece has been in my family for generations." It's not about cost, it's about connection. They might also throw in the humble brag disguised as curiosity. Asked about a luxury trip, they'd respond with, "The Maldives are incredible. You'd love their focus on sustainability." They shift the attention to culture, not cost. Ultimately, it's not about avoiding money. It's about creating conversations that feel rich in meaning, not numbers. That's their real flex. Why you should take notes. You don't have to be rich to adopt these principles. Avoiding money talk and focusing on meaningful topics is a surefire way to elevate your conversations. Next time that you're at a networking event, skip the flex about your new job or car. Instead, share a passion, a value, or an interesting idea. People won't just remember you, they'll respect you. And isn't that what truly matters? At the end of the day, wealthy men avoid money talk because they don't need to flaunt it. So, the next time you catch yourself tempted to drop a humble brag, think twice. Now, tell me, what is the most fascinating non-money topic that you've ever had with someone? Drop it in the comments. I can't wait to read your stories on that. Like and subscribe if you love old money elegance and understated fashion. And if you don't subscribe, it means I'm just going to have to wait another day to onboard you. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.